Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you have been here before. I am Katie Weeks, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I am joining with the Inspiration Collaboration Design team to bring you a mystery envelope challenge. Now this month, our challenge comes from Jenny. So Jenny is in England, so we don't mail the envelopes internationally, but we still send out a challenge. And Jenny's challenge was kind of inspired from this stitched stocking dies and stamp set that will be in our up and coming catalog that releases next week, which we cannot wait for. So there's a lot of quilting inspiration in these stockings, and so that's what inspired her to give us our challenge this month. And it's that we will do something that is quilt inspired. So we are supposed to make a layout that is quilt inspired. So I am bringing in some papers from the beautiful Ordinary Life, and I have chosen these two particular prints, and all of the prints in this paper pack have a black and white design on the back, so they're very, very versatile. But I've chosen these two, and I have chosen some pretty Peacock and Flirty Flamingo cardstock that I will use with them. So those are my basic supplies to get started. And I am going to start by trimming down this pretty Peacock. And I actually, no, the Flirty Flamingo. I am actually going to cut this down. I'm trying to decide on the amount. I think I will start to 11.5 by 11.5, but before I do that, I also want to try something. So our cutter is great, and when you go to cut things like this, you can see this ruler. I love that about it. But when I bring in my dark cardstock to cut it, it's not so easy to see this ruler. So I've seen some different things online, and I've seen where people have put some colored tape or cardstock under this. And I think I want to try that today. So I just have some old washi tape. I don't even know where it's from. And it is kind of like an off-white maybe, but I think it'll give enough of a difference in color that if I can get this to adhere to my trimmer, let's put it on in little bits at a time. I think I will be able to see those little ticks, especially when I'm measuring like 1/8 and 1/16. Looky there, can you see the difference? I can see that so much better on dark cardstock. I might be, oh yeah, that is so much better. So there's a little bonus tip today of what you might try. And since I have like 3 of these trimmers, and you know how one is newer than the other, I might even use 3 different colors of tape, like maybe use a yellow. You still want very light colors so that you're going to be able to see those dark lines when you're using dark cardstock. So anyways, back to what I was saying. Flirty Flamingo, I am going to trim it down to 11.5 by 11.5. So I'm just trimming off a 1/2 inch from 2 sides. So there's 11.5 by 11.5. I think that will look nice. And I think extra layers kind of gives the illusion of quilting, but I don't think I need to waste all of this cardstock in the Pretty Peacock. So I am going to cut out a frame, and it'll be so much easier to do this frame this time. So I'm going to cut from 1 down to 11. Rotate 90 degrees, and I will do this 4 times. 1 to 11, and I can actually see where to stop this time. It's so great. One down to 11. And 1 to 11. And now I have a nice 10-inch square that I can use on another project. I could cut out photo mats. I could die cut a title or some other embellishing bits that would coordinate beautifully. So I'll save that for later. Don't know where that scrap came from. And I'm going to make sure that my corners have enough adhesive on them so that I can adhere this down nice and square. Sorry if I'm getting my head in there. I just try to get over it really good. I'm definitely going to need the ruler, I think, on this one. And then you're going to want to put some adhesive on this 1/2 inch, that inside 1/2 inch, all the way around. So I like to use a wet adhesive. You certainly could use some sort of a tape runner. I like to use a wet adhesive because it gives me a little bit of grace in case I put it down and it's not 100% square and I want to wiggle it a little bit. Whereas the tape runner, it grips on pretty good. This gives me a little bit of flexibility. So when I put it down, I can kind of wiggle it into place. Make sure everything looks square. And then when I'm happy, I can press, kind of like the plastic wrap, press and seal, right? So I can stick that down nice and good. Now this next step, I'm going to be honest with you. I do not have exact measurements. I have a nice little picture from Pinterest that shows me 4 spots that are, to my guesstimation, 3 by 3 for photos. I'm not sure what I'm putting on here yet, so I'm just going to use these placeholders because I'm guessing. And then I'm also guessing, and I will say this, I've been scrapbooking for nearly 30 years. So when I say I'm guessing, I usually have a pretty good sense of what I'm guessing. I've done it for quite a while. I think these are 3 by 3 squares. We're actually working in triangles. And if you know me, you know how much I love to scrapbook with triangles. There are so many things you can do with it. So many designs you can make. And certainly when you've been challenged to do something with quilting, triangles are definitely the way to go. You can do some really cool things with circles, but triangles, you can't go wrong. So I'm going to cut 3 by 3 squares out of this one and out of this one. And then all of those triangles need to be cut in half diagonally, which will give me my triangles. Did I say triangles cut in half? My squares will be cut in half diagonally. When I do diagonals, I line up the points in that track where I will cut. I drop my blade in the middle because nobody wants to crunch up their corners and make a mess out of them. I'm not sure which design I'm going to put which place, so we may be changing this up, but we'll give it a go like this to start. So I just put in my Pinterest search quilt scrapbooking layout, and it gave me a whole bunch of beautiful designs. And that's what I decided to go with. It was something that popped up there. It did not even link to a website. Trying to see if there's a name on it. Now it's not even on my screen. It didn't link to anything. Like, I just really had no idea what would be next for it. So this is kind of how the design looked, which I thought was kind of cool. I think the little emblem here is based on a circle. Do you see the circle? And then another circle and another circle. So that also reminded me of quilting. So I thought to incorporate that circle-ish design in my triangle quilt design was doubly inspired and would go along just great with Jenny's challenge to us. Now I could use these triangles on the outside and the polka dots on the inside if I wanted. There's no right or wrong. And then the one that I found on Pinterest had this perfect octagon cut out for right here. I have adhered everything down. It's not perfect, but I think I have it pretty close. Every time I look at it, I see something I want to peel up and move just a smidgen. This one needs moved. That's a little better. I will tell you how I adhered it all down, because the thing is, you want to keep everything square as much as possible. So I started off using a 1/4 inch around each side to bring in and set these 4 corners down. So this is a set I got off of Amazon, and it has 1/16, 1/8, 3/16, 1/4, 5/16, 3/8, and a half. And you can make perfect borders. It's great for cards too, if you're putting down layers and you want to have the perfect amount around things. So I used whatever this little thing is called, and it was from Amazon. So that's how I set the 4 corners. That was the starting point. And then I brought in my T ruler from Close to My Heart. Stampin' Up if you want to know what to come up with, it needs to be a T ruler, a nice magnetic one like this. But when it's facing this way, we need to be able to see the measurements on this side. They should not be on that side. They should be on this side and on this side. So again, I use this, and I would set my T ruler against my mat, and that's how I knew where to set this piece. And then I would go around to where I had my stuff, and that's how I set this piece. And I kept going around and lining things up that way, and then I came about 1/4 inch off of this piece to set the next piece. And so that was kind of how I just kept my measurements going. And I used this edge like this to put these pieces on, this polka dot piece. So I did that all the way around. And then I measured this space. This measured about 5 by 5, and then it needs to be an octagon. So I cut a square at 4.5 by 4.5. And then I had to figure out how to figure out these corners. The best I can figure, and I'm not a math girl. Well, I love math, but I didn't teach math. I figure it needs to be about 1/3 that needs to cut off here, here, 1/3 here, and then 1/3 cut off here. So I cut 1.5 inch squares because this was 4.5. 1/3 would be 1.5, and then I cut these off. And then once I did that, I'm going to come in and cut off these corners. So I can just glue these down and snip off the corners, and it will measure out and hopefully be an octagon that will fit perfectly in the middle, as perfect as it can be with my imperfect quilting. But I will tell you this, once you get on your pictures and then you start adding embellishments, that will take away from the parts that I see that are glaring. So I want to see perfect alignment on these, and this is not perfect. This one is not at all. And it will start covering those imperfections up as we add pictures and embellishments. So as much as I try to fix little pieces and smudge things over just a little bit, I know that it will look a whole lot better once I start adding more things to it. So there's these corners, and then I just need to cut where those corners are. So I can do it with my paper trimmer like this and line them up, or I can use my scissors. The paper trimmer has to go through that extra layer with that, but that's how you're going to cut these, or you can do this. I think this one is the fastest way to go. Is it going to be 100% perfect? Probably not. Am I okay with doing it this way? I think I will be. Let's see what it looks like once we cut these off. So, I can see it's not perfect. This is longer than this, so I probably should have done something a little bit bigger. But do I think it'll work? Yeah, I think it will. Or I could go this way, and these corners would be extra long. Either way, I think it's going to work. I think it's good enough for me. So, do I have it all figured out the perfect way? Probably not. Do I have it pretty good? I think so. Now, if I designed this on the Cricut or something, or pulled up some quilt pattern from somebody else, they would probably have the math all figured out to the precise measurements, but I'm thinking this is going to work. And you could stamp a title in here. You could cut out some letters and throw those on. You could put another picture in here if you would like. But this is the next step that I have done. So we'll come back once I have pictures and I know what I'm going to do next. Okay, I've decided on the next step. This is a quilting theme. I need to add some stitching. I typically do not sew on my layouts. I'm not a seamstress. Do I have a sewing machine? Yes. Have I learned how to use it? Yes, but not to the extent that I remember what I learned. And I hardly ever use it. So what I think I'm going to do is just hand stitch all the way around. So it will have a very homemade look to it. This is my Stampin' Up white gel pen. I love this. I have never had a gel pen that rolled and got the whitest white color on my paper as much as this white gel pen. So if you're trying to decide and think you already have a white gel pen at home, oh honey, you do not have a white gel pen until you get this one, trust me. And I have a whole plethora of white right up in front of me of other gel pens. None of them roll like this. And none of them keep rolling like this for as long. I left my T ruler here so I could make sure I stayed in frame for you. Okay, so I changed my mind on what pictures I want on this. And I decided that I would use some pictures from when a friend and I went to Kelly's Island this last week. So my friend Marissa and I went up to one of the islands on Lake Erie that is called Kelly's Island. And I will have some other layouts from this as well. But we went up there. I wanted to see some things up there. And she had actually attended church camp up there several years. So we found the church camp and got her picture by their sign. She said it had not changed at all. It still looked the same and it was beautifully maintained. And then we both found our dream house that was right on the lake. And we joked that we could probably both sell our houses and together put down a down payment on this. I can't even imagine how many millions of dollars this lakefront property would be. And I am bringing in some accents from Floral Flight Accents. These embellishments are no longer available. I'm going to take this off because I'm not using it as a photo place, and I'm just going to put a white square there, the back of a placeholder instead. So it'll still have a square like these, but it'll just be a placeholder. And these Floral Flight Accents are just beautiful. I wish we still had them available. As soon as I heard that the quantity was low, I jumped right on and ordered more. So if my customers need one, I might have an extra lying around someplace that I could hunt down. Not sure. I'm poking out all these little pieces. This is like a laser cut accent. It's a little bit, I would say like a heavy cardstock. It's not chipboard. It's just like a heavy, solid core cardstock. It comes on a big long sheet like this of punch outs. I punched out a bunch of these before I got on camera. It just takes a while. I like to use something with a fine tip to put these down. I'm going to use this triangle as the place where these all originate for this little bunch of, I don't want to say greenery, they're black, but floral accents, I guess is what I'm supposed to call them. I like this overlapping that corner of the picture because you can see the steering wheel of our golf cart right there. So I kind of liked that getting covered up a little bit. Okay. And then this large cluster, I love it because I don't have to try to figure out how to layer things together like this or anything. It's just already clustered for me. I wonder if I can tuck this in again. I really like that originating out of one of those triangles. And then I have more of these clusters. I just don't know that I want to add any more. I don't think I like more on top of there. I think I'm pretty satisfied with the amount that I have there right now. The other thing I have are like some flowers like these and hearts. I might use that on something like with my family. I think I'm gonna stick with this right here for now. So here's this one. There will be another page that goes with it. So the other page will actually have the title. I will probably be doing a couple more pages. So I'll probably do the companion page for this and then another full 2-page layout for this trip. So there's my quilt-inspired layout like Jenny had challenged us. I figured my clusters could go 1, 2, and then on the facing page would be the 3rd cluster. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you want to check back to my channel to see the other page later, or most likely it will be posted on my Facebook business page. So Katie Stamps, KATISTAMPS is my business page on Facebook. I would love for you to follow me. I'm also on Instagram and on TikTok. Make sure that you go and check out the other ladies in the Inspiration Collaboration design team and see what they have done and how they were inspired by Jenny's challenge of doing a quilted layout. Have a great day. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more crafty inspiration.